Have you ever stood up for just a moment, only to turn around and find your dog in your exact spot like they were waiting for that second all along? Not near you, not beside you, exactly where you were. Most people laugh and call it a funny habit. But what if that tiny move is revealing something much deeper about how your dog sees you, depends on you, and feels safe around you? Because for many dogs, this is not random. And it is not always just about a warm cushion. Sometimes it is one of the clearest quiet signals of attachment your dog shows all day. And once you understand what may be driving it, you will never look at that stolen seat the same way again. Welcome to Mr. Hidden Mind, where we uncover the hidden meaning behind everyday behavior. And before we begin, one important note. This isn't a diagnosis, but it can help you tell the difference between normal attachment and behavior that may need support. Let's get into it. 1. Your dog is not just finding a seat. They may be finding your presence. You know the moment. You get up to grab water. You answer a text. You walk to the kitchen for less than a minute, and somehow your dog is already there, curled into your place, nose pressed into the fabric, eyes half closed like they just found the best spot in the house. To us, that looks fast. To your dog, it may feel obvious, because dogs do not experience your world the way you do. They build their world through scent, pattern, temperature, and emotional association. And your seat is full of all four. Long after you stand up, that place still carries a concentrated version of you. Your body warmth, your skin oils, your familiar scent, even subtle chemical changes connected to stress, calm, or routine. To your dog, that is not just a chair. It may be the closest thing to your presence without your body actually being there. That matters more than many people realize, because when a dog chooses the place that feels most like you, they may not be choosing furniture. They may be choosing emotional proximity. And that is where this behavior starts becoming much more interesting. 2. What looks like stealing may actually be comfort-seeking attachment. A lot of owners see this and think, my dog is cheeky. My dog is trying to take over my space. My dog knows exactly what they're doing. And yes, sometimes dogs absolutely know how to make us laugh. But in many homes, this behavior is less about possession and more about regulation. Your scent can be calming. Your usual spot can feel predictable. And predictability is powerful for dogs. Think about how often dogs seek out the things that smell most like their people. A hoodie left on the bed, a pair of shoes by the door, a blanket from the couch, a pillow from the room you spend the most time in. They do this because familiar scent can reduce uncertainty. And when your dog chooses the exact place where you were just sitting, that spot combines several things at once. It smells like you. It feels recently occupied by you. It still holds your warmth, and in your dog's mind, it remains linked to your presence. That combination can feel deeply comforting. So when you see your dog settle into your seat the second it opens up, it may not be a challenge. It may be a kind of emotional shorthand, a way of saying, if I can't be on you, I'll be where you just were. That is a very different story. But this is where most explanations stop too early, because your dog may not only be drawn to your scent, they may be drawn to what your spot represents. 3. Your place in the house may mean more to your dog than you think. Dogs are constant observers. They watch where people sit, who moves first, who opens the door, who brings food, who creates calm, who creates tension, who they follow without even thinking. Over time, your dog builds a map of the household, not just a physical map of rooms and furniture, but a social map of meaning. And your usual seat can become a landmark inside that map. It is the place where your dog most often sees you relaxed, where your body softens, where your attention settles, where evenings slow down. So where routines repeat. That gives the spot a special weight. In a multi-person household, many dogs show clear preferences. They are often more interested in the chair, side of the bed, or room most closely tied to the person they are most bonded with. Not because that place is magically better, but because that person matters more to them emotionally. This is why two chairs can look identical to you and feel completely different to your dog. One is just a chair, the other is your chair. One more thing. Dogs are not reading importance the way humans talk about power. This is not about old dominance myths. It is often much simpler and much more meaningful than that. Your spot may feel important because you feel important. And if your dog keeps choosing that place over and over, that choice is telling you something. Not about furniture, about relationship. 4. Warmth matters more than people think, but not in the shallow way people assume. Yes, the seat is warm. That part is true. And it does matter. Dogs are drawn to warmth for practical reasons. A warm resting place can be physically efficient and comfortable, especially for smaller dogs, older dogs, short-haired breeds, anxious dogs, or dogs who naturally seek cozy spaces. That is why dogs love sun patches, fresh laundry, heated blankets, laundry baskets, and the exact side of the bed that was warm 5 seconds ago. But here is why your seat often wins over all of them. It is not just warm, it is warm and familiar, warm and emotionally loaded, warm and strongly associated with safety. That difference is huge. A patch of sunlight gives comfort. Your seat may give comfort plus connection. And when dogs have a choice, that combination can be hard to beat. This is also why some dogs ignore the expensive bed you bought them and go straight for the place you just left. The dog bed may be soft, but your spot feels alive with meaning. And that brings us to something many owners notice without fully realizing it. Your dog often seems ready before you even move. Why? Because they may be reading you long before you stand up. 5. Your dog may know you are about to get up before you do. This is where the behavior starts to feel almost eerie. Sometimes your dog is already watching you closely, not in a general way, in a focused way. Your hand shifts, you inhale differently, you lean forward slightly, you move your phone, your foot changes position, and suddenly your dog is alert. Then the second you stand up, they launch. That is not luck. Dogs are exceptional pattern learners. They live inside our routine so closely that they pick up tiny signals we never notice in ourselves. The way you sit when you are about to leave the room is probably different from the way you sit when you are staying. The way you move before getting a snack is probably different from the way you move before picking up keys. The pause before standing up may have its own rhythm. Your dog learns these patterns through repetition. So what looks like a race to your seat may actually be prediction. Your dog is not always reacting to the action. Sometimes they are reacting to the clues that come right before it. That matters because it changes the entire feel of the scene. Your dog is not just opportunistic. They may be deeply tuned into you, your habits, your signals, your transitions, your presence moving through space. And that tells us something bigger. This behavior is not only about where your dog wants to rest, it is also about how closely your dog has built their life around you. 6. Sometimes your dog is copying more than your location. Here is a perspective many people miss. Dogs do not only follow us physically, they also absorb our patterns. They notice what spaces we return to, what places seem safe to us, where we spend our quiet time, where our body loosens, where we stay the longest. And over time, dogs may treat those places as valuable simply because we do. If you always settle into one corner of the couch when the day is done, your dog sees that. If you always exhale and relax in a certain chair after work, your dog sees that too. If your morning starts in one place and your evenings always end in another, your dog learns the emotional meaning of those spaces. This is part of why dogs can become attached not only to people, but to the routines and environments built around those people. Your seat may become attractive partly because your dog has watched you return to it again and again. Not just once, hundreds of times. To your dog, that repeated choice sends a message. This is where calm happens. This is where my person settles. This is where the day becomes safe. And many dogs want in on that feeling. That is a new way to think about the behavior. Not just my dog wants my place, but my dog may be moving toward the place that represents my calm. And now we get to the part that is most useful for real dog owners. Because sometimes this behavior is perfectly normal, and sometimes it comes with other signs that suggest your dog may need more support. 7. When is this normal attachment, and when could it signal stress? This part matters, because there is a big difference between a dog who likes your spot and a dog who cannot settle without some trace of you. For many dogs, taking your seat is completely normal. It can simply mean they like your scent, they like the warmth, they enjoy the comfort, and they are bonded to you. That by itself is usually not a problem, but pay attention to the full picture. If your dog takes your seat and then relaxes easily, naps, stretches, and remains calm, that often points to ordinary attachment and comfort seeking. If your dog sometimes chooses your spot but is also happy in other places, that is also usually normal. If your dog enjoys being near your things without showing distress when you leave, that is generally reassuring too. Now, compare that to a different pattern. A dog may need extra support if taking your spot comes with signs like pacing, panting when the room is not hot, whining when you leave, shadowing you constantly, difficulty settling unless they are touching you or your belongings, destructive behavior around exits, or intense distress when separated. That does not automatically mean something serious is wrong, but it may mean the behavior is no longer just about comfort. It may be part of a bigger stress pattern. And this is exactly why understanding context matters more than copying cute explanations from the internet. Because the same behavior can have different meanings depending on the emotional state around it. One dog is cozy, another dog is worried. From the outside, both may be sitting in the same chair. That is why this behavior should be read as a clue, not a conclusion, and that gives you a better way to respond. 8. What should you actually do when your dog takes your seat? Most owners do one of two things. They either laugh and leave it alone, or they instantly push the dog off like they need to win a tiny battle. Neither reaction is always wrong, but neither one is thoughtful by default. A better response starts with one question. What state is my dog in right now? If your dog looks calm, soft, comfortable, and relaxed, you probably do not need to make it into a big event. You can simply notice it for what it may be. A small attachment behavior. If you do not want your dog on that seat, the best move is not anger. It is redirection. Guide them to a place you do want them to use. Make that place warm, rewarding, and predictable. A blanket with your scent on it can help. So can placing a bed near where you usually sit. So can reinforcing calm behavior there. If your dog seems overly dependent on your exact location, build confidence away from you in small steps. Scatter treats on their bed. Reward independent settling. Practice short departures without drama. Create routines where calm does not depend entirely on your body being present. And if you notice clear distress, intense clinginess, or separation-related behaviors, it may be worth speaking to a qualified veterinarian or certified behavior professional. That is not overreacting. That is smart, compassionate observation, because the goal is not just to decode behavior. The goal is to understand what your dog may be feeling under it. And when you do that well, you stop reacting to the surface and start responding to the need. That is where real connection begins. 9. So what is your dog really saying when they take your seat? Now, let's bring everything together. Your scent is there, your warmth is there, your routine is there, your emotional signature is there, your dog's attention to your patterns is there, your bond is there. So when your dog chooses your spot, they may be choosing much more than a place to lie down. They may be choosing familiarity, regulation, predictability, closeness. A leftover imprint of the person who makes the world feel safer. And if your dog relaxes there deeply, that can be one of the quietest and most honest things they show you all day. Not with words, not with a trick, not with a dramatic display, just with a simple decision. When you're gone for a moment, I want to be where you still are. That is why this behavior hits people so hard once they understand it, because what looked small suddenly feels intimate. What looked funny suddenly feels meaningful. What looked like your dog taking something from you may actually be your dog leaning into what you give them. Security, comfort, recognition, home. And maybe that is the hidden truth in all of this. Your dog is not just attached to your body. They are attached to the feeling of being connected to you. And sometimes your seat is the nearest version of that feeling they can find. 10. Final thought. The hidden meaning under ordinary behavior. The next time you stand up and your dog quietly slips into your place, pause before you laugh it off. Look closely. Sometimes the smallest behaviors carry the deepest emotional meaning, not because they are dramatic, but because they are repeated, honest, and instinctive. A dog does not write you a letter. A dog does not explain themselves. A dog reveals their inner world by where they rest, what they seek, and what helps them settle. And if they keep choosing the place that feels most like you, that choice may be saying more than most people ever notice. This is what we do here at Mr. Hidden Mind. We look beneath the habit, beneath the routine, beneath the cute moment everyone shares. Because the behavior is visible, but the meaning is hidden. If you want more videos that decode the emotional logic behind everyday dog behavior, stay with Mr. Hidden Mind. And if your dog does this too, pay attention tonight. You may not just be watching a habit, you may be watching trust choose a place to rest.